I'm Balisa. I'll be your host for today's episode of Employment Wednesdays. And say hello to my guest, Yvonne Shavangu, who will be joining me today. And welcome to our episode of Employment Wednesdays.
Hi guys, my name is Yvonne Princess Shavangu. If you are new here, you're welcome to like, subscribe, share, and comment. And hand it over the channel. I don't know where I spent. Jokes, but yeah, you are welcome to another episode of Employment Wednesdays. And today we're talking about anxiety
in the workplace.
You guys see us happy, you see us bowling out of control, you see us. Some of you say we drink too much. You don't know why we're drinking, but some of you say we do a bit too much. And yeah, half of the things that we do are response to the anxieties and the issues we face within our workplaces or within our lives generally, because we find ourselves not being able to balance work and balance real life. So today, Alice is going to share her insight. I'm going to put in my 2 cents, and then we're just going to try and educate you guys. And you are welcome to share your experiences in the comment section. If you've had anxiety in the workplace, how did you deal with it? What was the trigger? And how did you address the whole thing? So yeah, let's hit it.
Okay, guys. So usually a lot of people don't know when they're in a certain situation how to react. And so sometimes you're placed in a very tense situation where you're needed to submit deadlines or deliverables or attend to, for instance, in this legal fraternity, attend to court, and then when you're not ready or when you're not able to execute those, you get a lot of anxiety. You're unable to now perform well, or the anxiety causes you to just shut down, and then you end up swallowing your words, not even knowing what to say, not even performing right, not even submitting your work, or you just end up falling into like a dark hole of, everything that's just piling up because of the work pressures. And usually, I know for myself, I get a lot of anxiety when I'm overwhelmed with a lot of tasks to do, and it's needed right now, right in that moment, where everything seems urgent, but sometimes it's not all that urgent, and it causes me to now freak out, have sweaty palms, I don't know what to do, I fall apart, and now, obviously, how do I deal with that? I cannot tell my boss, you know what, this work is making me anxious, I need to leave. No, he expects his work at the end of the day, and whether I have to take a step back, that's on me. So sometimes our work requires for us to really deal with anxiety well. There's good anxiety and then there's bad anxiety. Good anxiety is...
Wait a minute. So when you say good anxiety, give me an instance of good anxiety.
So actually I was getting to that.
Okay.
Good anxiety is when you're working maybe under pressure, right? So some people feel that they give their best work when they're under pressure, right?
Okay.
And maybe it's the fact that you're anxious of, okay, I've got a deadline tonight, right? And then you haven't even started with your work, right? But then that adrenaline, that anxiety, that feeling of, oh my word, I haven't started with this task, but it's due in the next 3-4 hours. Then it's an anxiety that kind of pushes you to work even better.
Okay.
And then you've got bad anxiety.
Okay.
Bad anxiety now, it's like a total different ball game where you have a deadline. For instance, same example, you have a deadline tonight, and at the same time you don't work well under pressure.
Okay.
And now you cannot focus. You don't even know where to start, and then that's when you crash. Where the anxiety does not push you to perform to your best ability.
Okay.
And basically just you become so blank, like your mind goes blank, and then you don't know how to deal with these feelings, how to even channel it to fulfill your tasks. So that's an example of
okay, those are good examples. So when was one time when was your first experience of anxiety where you felt like, actually, I'm drowning, this is just, it's not working out?
Okay, the one instance was when I had to appear in court. My first appearance in the magistrate's court, and it was for a trial. Now, I've never prepared for a trial. I've never done a trial ever, and I think I was my first year of articles, and my boss just gave me the file and say, okay, Monday you are going to be the one that's running this case and go and argue, make our submissions in court, and all the best. That literally, I fell apart right then and there. Bear in mind, this is on a Friday, close of business, and the matter's moving on a Monday. I've never done a trial. So I think the whole weekend I was so anxious. Like, I didn't know where to start, what to do, how to even prepare. And I just prepared okay. I've just prepared normally. And at the same time, how was I going to get up there and start speaking to the magistrate? What if I lose my train of thought? What if I even forget what the case is about? So I remember that weekend was literally one of the worst weekends of my candidate attorney career.
So yeah, just to add in, one thing I've realized also about anxiety is that it takes away your joy, guys.
Yeah.
That's how messed up it is, because you're stressed about this one thing, but everything is impacted.
Yeah.
So I think, in as much as it is part of our lives, we can't run away from it, but it's always important that we avoid it, you know, in situations whereby it's work and life involved as well. Because you can imagine, let's say weekend, you had other things you had to do, right? But your mind is preoccupied by all of these things that, oh no, what if I mess up? Oh no, what if the magistrate doesn't hear me clearly? What if I don't say the right words? What if I don't win this? What if I embarrass the firm, and all of that? So I think it's always important to maintain a calm spirit when you're going through hectic deadline. I'm not saying people should just relax and be like, it's whatever, we'll see what happens on Monday. But it's always important to maintain a calm spirit, because you're also able to actually make the correct decisions and actually prepare in an appropriate manner. Because if you can't control yourself, or if you can't calm yourself down, half the time everything you touch becomes messed up. Because you can imagine, you're stressed, you're shaking. Have you seen how talking to a person that's stressed out is almost very frustrating? Because
I think they're very
they're
edgy. They're
it's
very
like
edgy.
you can't
They
even
can't
hear.
sit still. They don't even know what you're saying to them.
You know, they can't articulate themselves properly and all of that. So you need to find yourself in a very balancing, you know. And just to say, guys, work is not all rosy and all of that. By the time you get your salary, you actually feel like, yes,
You
I
really
deserve
worked
this.
hard
I've earned it, you know.
Yeah.
So, okay, fine. How did you deal with the whole thing? How did trial go on that particular Monday? Was the stress worth it?
Oh, so I basically went from the pot into the frying pan. It just went worse. Like, or is it? Oh my gosh, I forgot how that connotation goes. But yeah, so basically, I prepared with a friend. Luckily, they assisted me and they told me how I can do my introductions, make my submit my line of questioning to my witnesses, and then I thought I was ready. I was like, I'm good to go. And then on Monday comes time, I realized that my matter's not on the roll. Unfortunately, it was an oversight on my part for not setting the matter down, because I was still learning then. Like I said, I was a first year candidate attorney, and I guess transitioning from lockdown and then going back into the office on a daily basis, certain things were still new, certain things I hadn't known about. So then the matter was not set down, it was not on the roll, and that gave me even more anxiety, because I knew that my boss was gonna have my head on a platter, you know, because he expected the little things to be done. But however, I was relieved, because then it means I didn't need to be in front of the magistrate and go ahead with the trial. It was sad for my client though, but lesson learned. So I managed to get another date, and however, I didn't appear again for trial because we got counsel. So it was a win-win situation. Like, my anxiety was good. It gave me a lot of pressures to perform, and then I had another anxiety where I realized, okay, I didn't actually execute my job that well. So
Yeah, and then I think it goes back to what I was saying earlier. You see also what anxiety does. It makes you overlook the small things. You know, because I mean, I feel like if you were in a much calmer state on that Friday, you would have noted to actually say, no, our mess is not set down. There's no need for me to be stressed out throughout the weekend. Let me rather work on getting a new date as opposed to me trying to prepare for something that's not there or something that's not on the roll, right?
Exactly.
Okay, what about 3 things that you can say have helped you calm your anxiety and become more confident in your work?
Top of the list, alcohol.
Guys, don't become alcoholics, please.
I mean, you know, in this profession, I'm not sure about other professions, but you deal with a lot of clients' emotions, you deal with clients' frustrations, and even your own, and there's a lot of trials and procedures that have to be complied with, and the moment you don't, everything can just take a turning point for your matter. So imagine dealing with like 5 cases in a day. I mean, at the end of the day, sometimes just a little wine, a glass of wine a day keeps the doctor away, keeps the anxieties at bay, you know?
Okay.
So I wouldn't highly recommend it, but it does do the trick at the end of a long, frustrating day when you felt like nothing was possible. You're just tired.
Okay.
And second, one thing that helps is just to meditate.
Okay.
I find actually like a good gym Pilates session helps to just, you know, stretch out all of those feelings and just be calm, be in tune, be at one with your mind, and just take a second and breathe and say, okay, what can I do better, and how not to let this affect you for the rest of the week.
Okay.
The third one would be to spend time outdoors with friends, with family, maybe go out to a restaurant, go out to the park, go out to the movies. It really just helps keep you in tune a little bit with stuff that's happening out there in the world and in reality, and not in the closed off bubble that you're in, this working bubble. So it's good to sometimes at least engage with people outside, because it will help calm and elevate your spirits a little bit and just give you a bit of confidence to say, okay, you know what, people are living their lives. Life goes on, and you can't be sulking all the time and be anxious because of work. So it's just another stress relieving mechanism.
Okay. So with me, right, one of my triggers of anxiety are when a person criticizes my work without reason or justification. They just tell you like, okay, what you submitted is BS, and then I'm just like, but tell me why, right? That's one. And then number 2, when a person shouts at me or when a person gives an unclear instruction. Guys, nothing gives me anxiety like an unclear instruction. Like, I cringe. I want to faint. I want the ground to swallow me, because if you give me an unclear instruction, it means I can't carry out the task appropriately or properly, because it means whatever you told me to do, I won't be able to do as you would have imagined it. So I always try to ensure that sometimes I record my instructions, sometimes I write them down, but I always want to ensure that I understood the instruction that was given to me, right? And then also how I handle, actually, let me tell you guys when my anxiety was at its peak, right? Also, I remember this one time, I think you actually helped me out with the whole thing, right? Guys, as a CA, you will paginate, right? I paginated over 1,600 pages, only to realize at around about 800 or 700 that there was a mispagination. So it meant I had to redo it. And I realized this at last minute. Now there's a post guy who's supposed to collect the documents. The documents are supposed to go to the correspondent, and my boss is just not having it. Like, he couldn't even be bothered. He's just looking at me like, man, all I know is that my documents must be in Kimberley today. How you do it, how you make it happen, it doesn't matter. So yeah, like also too much pressure. I can work well under pressure, but too much pressure actually gives me anxiety, because I end up crumbling and feeling like I'm inadequate. And sometimes it's not that you're inadequate. It's just that maybe the timing is not enough, or the timing is not okay, or you just didn't understand what you're being told. So yeah, That was the worst for me. And from then I learned that, guys, if you have any pagination to be done, at least do it a week prior and keep checking. So that on the last day when you have to package or take your stuff to correspondent, you're not realizing the mistakes there and there, right? And then how I deal with anxiety, guys, I've learned I'm one of the most optimistic people you can ever meet. Like, I could be going through the situation could be the worst, but I'd always look out for the positive, right? And also at the same time, I'm very sensitive. I cry quite a lot, right? I have days where I'm just like, you know what, tonight I just have to cry it out. I have to cry and cry and cry and feel okay, right? So I sort of also express my emotions, because when my emotions are suppressed, when I can't say how I feel about an occurrence, then it gives me so much anxiety. So I've learned to actually communicate how I feel about an instance or how I feel about something that would have happened, as opposed to just keeping quiet about it, right? And secondly, I spend a lot of like my weekends. I've learned that sometimes, guys, work will suffer. It is what it is. Like, or my sleep will suffer. Something must suffer.
No,
because
something must suffer in the workplace. Yeah,
there must be sacrifice. When you ask people how do you balance it, there's nothing called balance. Whenever something is striving, something is struggling. Trust me, even the most successful people tell you at the peak of their careers, maybe their family didn't have family time. At the peak of their family time, their career wasn't as booming. Something will suffer. Like, the mantra to life is to love and sacrifice. That's why we came to this world, just to love and sacrifice. So sometimes I tend to actually say, you know what, I'm just going to sacrifice. If I'm going to get into trouble for this, it is what it is, but I'm going to take the Sunday to reboot. Because here's another thing, when I'm overworked, guys, I will not submit anything correct. You can instruct me, you can give me papers, whatever you do, whatever I'm going to submit is subpar. So I always try and take rest days. Take my rest days very seriously. If I'm saying I'm not doing anything for the weekend, that's that, right? And then also I spend a lot of time outdoors, and I tried a lot of restaurants, meet different types of people. Then it actually changes your perspective. I'm one of the few lawyers that don't go around carrying the whole thing. I'm of the noble profession. You don't know I'm a lawyer until we are 5 hours into the conversation. My first introduction is not that I'm a lawyer or I'm a master's holder or all of those things. I always try to strip off myself all of those things and be human and find my center, right? And then also gym, guys, working out it's life-changing. There's something about having a long day or being frustrated and actually going to the gym and walking it out, and doing running it out, doing whatever you can to actually release that energy, because sometimes all we need is permission to release, and then that's it, So you guys can look into some of those things. And then, guys, one of the biggest things, especially in the workplace, let's say you can't do all of these things we mentioned that we do outside of the workplace, but one big thing, always ask for help. I know it can be embarrassing, it can make you feel ashamed or whatever the case may be, but always ask for help. If you're struggling, if you don't understand a concept, ask your colleagues for help. Sometimes, one thing I've learned, I've mastered people's personalities. I know which senior to go to for what. There's some seniors that you can't just go there and be like, what does this mean? Because they'll tell you, go and research. And then there's other ones that are always willing to teach, willing to educate. So you also identify those people within your office or within your field or within your work and actually be like, okay, hey, how do I do this? And it's also important to have acquaintances within your profession, because when you have acquaintances, you're actually able to ask other people for templates. I don't know how other professions work, but we do a lot of drafting, and a lot of drafting comes from templates. So sometimes if you don't have any friends, if you're not close to your colleagues, if you're just doing life on your own, it becomes hard for you to actually manage some stresses. Because now, let's say, for the first time, they say, hey, go draft a shareholders agreement. You've never seen one. Imagine how stressed you become. What is a shareholders agreement? But if you've got friends that have gone that path, or if you've got somebody at the office that you can talk to, that you can ask, they're able to show you the template. They're able to actually say, okay, this is what's up. This is how you draft it. This is how you do it. So I think it's important to have a network of people that you relate with, people that you can ask for help. But it's important, guys, to ask for help. And you're not a burden. You're not a burden.
Yeah.
I don't think that's how people feel. you are not a burden. Because half the time people say they don't ask for help because they feel like they're burdened, but you're not a burden. The worst that could happen is a person saying no. Even now, I've come not to care. Whether you think I ask too much, it's your business. But at the end of the day, I will be assisted and I will learn as much as I can. Your parting words to a person that is a first-time employee, a junior, like let's say the person watching this video, it's their first week or first month at work and they are under so much stress and under so much anxiety. What do you have to say to them?
I would definitely just say trust and believe in yourself that you are doing your best. Sometimes you might always feel like you're not getting anything right. You know, you always need to feel as though you're starting from scratch. You know nothing. You've learned nothing from university, because some professions outside of university, coming into the profession, you feel like it's two different things. You feel like you're starting from scratch, especially this career field, if I should say, where you feel like you're starting from scratch. Never doubt yourself. Always trust in what you're doing. Trust yourself. Trust your gut feeling. Trust it and believe that asking for help, it's never the wrong thing to ask for help. It's always the right thing to ask for help instead. And just always give 100% of your work. And one thing a colleague of mine told me is that how you execute your work, and it's a reflection of yourself, of how you deem this to be valuable to you. So if you end up just giving 50% will show, and that just shows how much you deem whatever you're doing worth. It's like, it's not worth it. So guys, in conclusion, definitely keep your head up high, do your best, roll with the punches as they come, trust in what you're doing, and give 110% in everything that you do.
Yeah, so in closing, I'd say you're at the right place at the right time. All you have is all you need, and it is enough. Put in your 1,000 hours. It'll surely pay off. It might not be what you expected it to be, but I can trust and believe on your behalf that what you go through right now will be rewarded in the future, and you will see that it was all worth the sweat and the tears. Without any further ado, do not forget to be liked, don't forget to be loved, and do not forget to pray for one another, and I will be praying for you. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and comment. God bless you.
Thank you, guys.